What up, party people? So today I was thinking about how I make decisions now and want to make decisions moving forward compared to how I used to make them in the past. And the biggest reason I was thinking about this is because I made the decision to come to Hawaii. And I remember the moment because the question came, it was a full body yes. And when I say full body yes, it's like the excitement, right? It's like, yes, this sounds awesome. And I'm pretty sure I said, let me think about it, but I knew like it was a yes. Because in the past, I would say, let me think about it. And then my brain would kick in and usually try to talk me out of it. And or I would contact someone, trusted friend, relative, and say, hey, what do you think? Do you think I should do this? What do you think about this? What would you do it? And so I was constantly going from like letting my brain mull it over and also asking others' opinions instead of just trusting that full body yes that I initially had, like in this instance. So thinking about this decision compared to a lot of my decisions in the past, I was thinking about some big ones, some big decisions I've made. And the clearest one I made in the past that I really wish I would have chosen what my body and what my intuition was telling me and not based it on what other people thought I should do, what my brain was so fearful of happening, like all the what ifs that could have potentially happened. And that decision from the past was when I was in my 20s, early 20s, I decided to buy a house. I had a real estate agent. I went to a mortgage lender. I was pre-approved for a loan. And just doing all the math in the moment, I was like, oh, I can totally afford this. And I thought it was a really good idea because I wanted to start early my investing, right? I wanted to start investing early. And I was super excited about it. I got the mortgage approval. I picked like the house I wanted. I bought it. Awesome. Well, about 2-ish years go by. I'm now house, they call it house poor when you're basically living paycheck to paycheck because my mortgage and all the bills associated with owning a home, like trash, water, sewer, it adds up. And I was also at a stage in my life in my mid 20s where I wasn't really sure if the job I was working or the place I was living, like meaning the town I was living in, was really what I was meant to be doing at the time. So I have this beautiful house, I have this mortgage. I really want to keep it because it's an investment. However, I want to change something in my life. And at the time, I think it was jobs. I think because that was before I made the decision to move to Jackson. But in my head, if I switched jobs or went back to school, I think I was also thinking about going back to school, I would need support in paying my mortgage. And initially, I thought, okay, I'll have someone rent it. And I did for a while. I had someone partially rent it. So, like, they just rented a room in the house. And it worked. It wasn't ideal. Um, but I think it would have been better to just rent the whole place. And so that was my next thought was, okay, I'll just rent the whole place. It felt good in my body. I knew as an investment property, that's what someone would do, right? They would rent the house out. And the mistake I made is I didn't go talk to a property manager, a real estate agent, or a friend or a relative who owned property and rented them out, or who knew about property and rentals and all that. Instead, I went to my family, my friends, people who are not qualified to give me that kind of advice, right? None of my friends even owned homes, let alone knew if they should rent one out, you know? And even my family members, I don't have family members that like own multiple properties or rentals or anything like that. So I went and I got advice from unqualified people about what I should do with my. And even though my body and my mind, even at that point, was telling me, like, you can do this, it's plausible, it's the best option, I listened to other people who were not qualified. And most of them were saying, no, you should sell, you should sell. If you don't think you can make the mortgage, you should sell. And it was like, I don't, I'm not saying I can't make the mortgage in this moment, but in 6 months, I might not be able to make the mortgage if I'm, in school or changing jobs or whatever. And so even to their eye, it was a no. It was, no, you should probably just sell it. So I took their advice. I sold this place. I lived in it about 2.5 years. So I didn't really make any money off of it. Um, I didn't lose money, thankfully. I made a little bit of money. However, I also sold it in a recession, in the 2008 recession. And so the fact that I made a little bit of money, it was like, yay, I win. Thankfully, I didn't lose money. Um, it wasn't until about 5-ish years later when I kind of figured out I didn't want to live in my hometown. I moved away. I was making a lot more money. And I realized in that time, I was like, I should have been renting this place. I should have, right? You get stuck in the should haves. And that's another wicked trap that can get you that's not healthy is the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. So I let that one go, kind of forgot about it. And then recently, in the past few years, I actually bought another property. I rented out. And this time, when I made the decision to buy a property and also knew that I'd be traveling more, so I was like, I'm gonna have to rent it out, whether it's long term, short term, but I know for a fact I'm not gonna be living in it full time. So I talked I no longer took my old advice and went to family, friends, relative, people who didn't own properties and didn't know real estate and didn't know mortgages. I went to people who knew about real estate, who knew about rentals, who knew about short-term rentals, long-term rentals. So I got the opinions from the people who were qualified to give me their opinions, advice, etc., etc. And that set me up so much more efficiently and better to make that decision to actually purchase the property. Because now it wasn't just emotional based opinions or advice, it was actually coming from a place of knowledge of I've done this for 20 years, I've done this for 10 years. These are the trends. This is what I know. This works really well. This doesn't work very well, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I learned like the biggest lesson first is what is your body telling you? Is it telling, this decision comes up, should I buy a house? And if your initial response is yes, I'm excited about that. That feels good. Keep that, keep that feeling, like remember that feeling because there's going to be moments when you're in the process of um mortgage lending, like the seller, I'm the buyer, so going through stuff with the seller, blah 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 blah. There might be moments where your brain's like, "Oh no." I don't think this is a good idea. And you have to realize, like, no, no, like the initial yes was like, yes, let's do this. Obviously, if there's really big issues with the lender, with the real estate agent, with the seller, then yeah, it might turn into a no. But it's just a no for that property or that situation. It's not a no in general. So back to this decision to come to Hawaii, I first listened to my body and I was like, yes, this is a yes. And then the second thing I did is I didn't ask anybody's opinion. I don't think I even really talked to anybody about it. I had a few people ask me what I was doing this month because they wanted to make plans. But other than that, those were the only people that knew. And I remember some of these conversations, I never once asked, do you think I should go? Do you think I should do it? What do you think? I was just like, no, this is what I'm doing. And I'm nervous and excited, and it's gonna be kind of an experiment, I guess. Uh, and it felt so good. Not seeking advice, not seeking approval, and just listening to what my body was telling me. And then, of course, as the thing got closer, the coming to Hawaii, of course, my mind is now kicking in and saying, should we be doing this? I don't know. Like, you could be, still making money doing this, or you could make money doing that, or you could do this, or you could do that. And I'm like, nope, decision's been made. Like my brain was trying to talk me out of it because of old habits, old patterns, fear, scarcity mindset, like all this other stuff. And it's just been wild, like seeing these patterns within me that I'm basically excavating and looking at it like, is this helpful or is this harmful? Is this going to help me get to the next level, or is this just going to keep me where I'm at, or make me plummet, down a couple notches? And I'm in a state now of really being aware of my thoughts and my feelings to the point that I don't want to go backwards anymore. I don't want to listen to those old voices and patterns in my head that are trying to keep me small or keep me where I'm at because it's safe, because it's comfortable. And I hope that this story and this example I'm giving you maybe triggers some like stories or examples you have in your own life to realize like, oh wow, I really wanted to go to Bali 2 years ago, but I didn't because so and so told me it was dangerous, And it's like, well, has so and so been to Bali? Because if not, why'd you take advice from so and so? Why didn't you ask someone who's actually been to Bali? So that's my story for today. I really hope that this helps you guys make better decisions, be more aware of your decisions and why you're making them, because it is wild seeing how just making a decision and why you're making it can change the whole trajectory of life. So, thanks for being here.